We're keeping with the Tourism Month spirit and looking at the hospitality sector. That's with particular focus on Sun International, which RECM says is on the rise. Lindsay, I understand that you are with Jan van Niekerk in Cape Town.
Yes, indeed. Sun International came out with its numbers quite recently. I thought they were very good. I like the CEO. His name is Graham Stevens. In the studio with me now is a fan of the company and the CEO as well, and that's Jan van Niekerk, who is the CEO of the deep value investor based in Cape Town called RECM. Sun International, you think that the market is underrating this stock?
Yeah, Lindsay, if you step back a bit, as all investors, but as value investors, we kind of look for businesses that have moats or sustainable edges in society. And gambling businesses, in general are those. They're protected by licenses. In South Africa, we know that there's only a certain amount of licenses. Nobody can come in and compete except for the other incumbents. And as it's turned out in South Africa, you've got two major competitors there. You've got Tsogo Sun and Sun International. Now, this business particularly disappointed investors over a number of years. You'll remember that just before the financial crisis, they bought back 2.4 billion rands worth of their own stock at 160 rand. Now, the shares in the end, ended up $80, and it's trading at about 120 at the moment. So, it's definitely a business where investors that have been following this have been disappointed from time to time. And then after the World Cup soccer, there was a general dislike of everything to do with hotels and leisure. But as we calculate the value of this business, Sun International is 80% gambling business, and every society has a propensity to gamble. It's not going to go away, and the nation give you this license literally to print money, to operate the licenses, and part of the income is taxes that go to government. So your partner in this business outside of the shareholders is the government, so they're going to protect it for you. So we think just generally as a business case, a gaming company is something that you would like to own, and there's a lot happening in Sun International where the market is not giving them credit for.
Compelling stuff, Nosy and Wayne.
Jan, why should we be interested or excited rather about Latin America? They seem to be quite active in that space now, and it certainly seems to be a market that's high on their radar.
Yes, look, about 25 to 30% of the value that we calculate in the company is, from the Latin American operations. They have had exposure to Monticello in Chile. We know that in the first half of last year, their earnings out of that business were significantly impacted by the smoking ban that was instituted there. But as operators of these businesses do, they've put measures in place to fix that. And they have had some experience in growing their business in that side, and I think the sign that Graham and his team are buying out their partners in that business and increasing their footprint not only in Chile but also in Panama and the rest there, is a good sign. We believe gambling is a good business to own in many jurisdictions, so we can't say it's a bad thing to own it in that part of the world, and the market doesn't seem to be giving them credit for that.
Jan, Wayne, yeah, just two questions. One relates to what you've just been talking about. There was a lot of worry a while back about smoking ban in South African casinos. What's the status on that? And then secondly, just to come back to a topic you spoke or a concept you spoke about earlier on, are casinos as recession-proof as what they used to be? Aren't they a little bit more subject to the consumer cycle now than 10 years ago?
They probably are a bit more susceptible, Wayne, to the consumer cycle. But generally, if you look at most of the businesses that one can be involved in the economy, we would think that casinos are very durable. Again, from the point that you have government as your partner there, and they definitely we see work to protect those licenses. The shadow of a gambling, a smoking ban is certainly hanging over South Africa, and also the risk of higher gaming taxes. And I think investors are uncertain about this. We certainly have seen the notion of much higher gaming taxes mentioned in the budget a couple of years ago. It was settled at a lower number. We think that's out of the way now. And also, we think the risk of smoking bans are smaller than one would think.
Jan, thanks so much for your time this evening. That's Jan van Niekerk, who's the CEO of RECM, the deep value-based investor in Cape Town.